Hello, people. Welcome to Stadiums for Ants live Christmas lights show. It's Boxing Day. Rangers won. United almost won. And I think that's about everybody. I hope everybody's enjoying. I got all my favorite shirts up there. Something a little bit new for me. A little background action, which is always nice. Have we got anybody in the comments yet? I would love to see you all. We got 6 people watching, which is fantastic. Let's have a look at those comments, ladies and gentlemen. Who's with us? I would love a little roll call action here. You can see we've got 2 cameras running. This is also something a little bit new. We've got our mini cam, which is going to be super fun. So we can show off exactly what's going on here with the very new, very improved Ibrox 2.0. You can see behind me, oops, to my right, your left, mini velodrome. We'll talk about that. We'll show that as well. Hey, Rach. Hey, Jay. How's everybody doing? Everybody had a lovely Christmas, I hope. Did you get what you wanted? It's the big question of the day. We're getting a little audio from this bad boy, so we're going to turn that down. There we go. There we go. So I wanted to show a little bit of it's still audioing. I want to show a little bit of what the changes are, especially at the new Ibrox. Version 2.0 seems to have made some fairly significant improvements. So let's see if we can get that up there. There we go. So I run a piece of software called Rhinoceros, which is 3D modeling. And you can do 3D modeling. Merry Christmas, Rach. Did you get what you wanted? Nobody's answered my question. I'm very curious. I hope everybody got what they wanted. Anyways, so I use this piece of software called Rhinoceros. You can do 3D modeling in lots of stuff these days. You can even do some 3D modeling in Photoshop, which is crazy. I don't use Photoshop for 3D. I use Rhinoceros. So anyways, this is the new Ibrox facade. And what I want to do is kind of highlight the difference in what happened with the last one versus this one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring up the older file and give you guys a little look at how this all went down. So the first Ibrox that I did a couple of months ago was part of the reason that I really wanted to do Ibrox was because the facade lights up and it's such a architecturally significant moment when you have this beautiful brick facade and, you know, it's like these little holes punctured in brick that shoot light out. And obviously those are windows, but in architectural terms, we call that a moment. And the moment when that lights up is just, it's really special, as I'm sure any bear here watching will attest to. But it was my first crack at backlighting a facade on one of my models. So what I did was I actually went in and I had all these little details as part of the 3D print, which, I mean, they all came out, but it then became very difficult to texture it without it kind of looking off, right? Because the 3D print filament color compared to what comes out on the pieces of paper that get printed. Absolutely, Jay. Super duper unique. And again, that's kind of the architectural significance of what I was, really interested in playing around with and seeing how to recreate it. So what I did was I essentially took this and I turned it into a relief. If you guys know what a relief is, I'm going to show you here. We're going to isolate these 2 bits. And so what we had the brick facade printed in brick red and a piece of translucent that fit real snugly right inside there, right? So it's kind of like a relief. And then what we did was we ran lights along this edge. And because this piece was transparent, it would kind of soak up the LED lights. And we plugged that right in front So it came through the holes in the windows, and we got that nice little lighting effect. However, the downside to doing all of these little intricate details on the 3D printer, as opposed to by hand, or even keeping some of them 2D, but just kind of representing them in a different way. The downside of that was, again, I was very happy with the final product, but I felt as though I could have done a better job in terms of showcasing how special that facade is. So I wanted to go back and try it again. And in doing so, here's what we have come up with. We isolate those two. See, it's a little bit flatter. We took some of the three-dimensional details away on the facade, but we still have that backlit piece that goes right there. And it doesn't have windows poking out of it because we actually covered it up. As you can see, how do I highlight this? I want to bring that one. Arg, how do I do that? Man, oops. Rage, you probably know how to do this. I got 3 things going: a screen share, 2 cameras, but I want the camera to be the big one here. Solo layout. There we go. Okay, so basically, can you guys see that okay? Can somebody please tell me if they can see that okay? Because it looks a little bit grainy on my end. Just really quickly, I'd very much appreciate it. Somebody in the comments, please. While you do that, we need, all right. So I hope you guys can see there. There's significantly more detail in the facade. Yeah, can everybody kind of decipher what I was talking about when I was showing you the 3D model? And then what we're going to do in order to get that same effect without leaving the physical holes there, because again, they're kind of like they're papered over. Ah, damn you, damn you. I'm just gonna have to go ahead and get it. I need a better system for this. See, so we're still gonna get that nice light up in the windows, even without doing the actual physical holes being poked in it. So I'm really happy with the way that this came out, and I hope that everybody kind of agrees with me. It's interesting, you know, they talk about iteration a lot in architecture school, and it's really true. Like every time you do something, and then you kind of go back and rework it and play with it again, it always kind of winds up coming out a little bit better than the first time. So that's really all I had for you guys for today, unless anybody wants to have a chat about anything. We want to talk about the rest of the season coming up here. We want to talk about, I could show you one of the other models if anybody wants to see. I've still got, let's see here. I have 1, 2, 3. There's 4 models in the house right now. If anybody else wants to look at anything else, I've got Dortmund, I've got Marseille, I've got Highbury, and obviously Ibrox. So hop on, Jay. Good question. I kind of tried to answer that. That's kind of why I was talking about, if we go back to this and how I went about doing it, it was really because I had 3D printed like in 3 dimensions, you know, some of those really, really, really fine details, but that left the facade as kind of like a flat color. And I just thought that I could do it better. And in order to do that, you know, I just kind of changed the relief so that less of the detail was 3D printed and more of it was, as you can see in the cam. Ooh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Ooh, excuse me, guys. You know, less of the detail was 3-dimensionally printed, and more of it was kind of like a texture. And I think that it just, in the end, it kind of wound up looking a little bit better, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense? I just feel like that's a little bit more representative. And JP, speakers for crowd noise, man. So it's funny. I tried to do that a couple of years ago. There's you know, you can get like birthday cards or Christmas cards that when you open them, there's a little speaker and it, you know, plays a song or talks or something. And I'm trying to figure out how to rewire one of those and reprogram it to play what I want it to play and to run off of the light switch. So maybe down the road, that's something that might be possible. JC, do I see myself doing a third in the future? Yeah, man, it's possible. This one's actually for someone. So I'm also going to start taking orders here. If anybody's interested, I can offer Ibrox. I can offer Westfalenstadion. I can offer Old Trafford. I can offer either of the Amsterdam projects, and there'll be more kind of coming soon. I just started, if anybody's interested. I recently started working on one of my favorite stadiums in the whole world. I think that this, talk about architecturally significant. This is really one of the most incredible buildings that I've ever been to, and it's Vodafone Park in the heart of Istanbul, which is just super duper special. And I'm really excited to build this one because we'll bring up the site and everything here. I just think that specifically where it sits in the city and kind of how it interacts with the topography around it, I just think that the significance of it is fascinating, and kind of how they went about. There we go. If anybody's ever been there, get at me in the chat because I would love to have a conversation about it. I haven't been to a game there yet, but I went 2 years ago and did the stadium tour, and it is just stunning. JCL, shoot me either an email or a DM on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll have a chat about it, okay? I'm happy to kind of talk through everything. It's just a little complicated for this video. JP, modern stadiums. No, not necessarily. Like, for example, the orange Vodafone, or the Vodafone, the orange Velodrome. I got Vodafone Park and the Velodrome, and I'm all mixed up. The Velodrome is actually the hardest one that I've ever done, and that's because of its, you know, crazy undulating roof. So this one's a little, you know, this one, while it has the same type of pattern on top of the roof, it doesn't move and wave in different directions. So really it just comes down, like, in terms of difficulty for me to build, it comes down to it comes down to the architecture. Like, there's always going to be little parts that you can't really reproduce at scale. So it's kind of about having the eye for how to highlight the important parts so that it looks like what you're used to seeing, and kind of like fudging some things and playing like eye tricks a little bit, just in terms of like, you know, some pieces, like for example, all these pillars around here on this one, oops, all the pillars that go around the edge here in this kind of like off-white color, those are not to scale per se. It's the right number of them, and they're spaced pretty much correctly. But, you know, again, when you shrink stuff down in order to kind of like get the eye to see it the way you're used to seeing it, you have to kind of play some little tricks. So no, modern's not necessarily easier or harder. It's really a question of a deeper kind of piece of the architecture and fundamentally what is the building. Let's see, we got anything else? Yeah, do you guys want me to put the velodrome on the mini cam real quick? I can do that. All I need is one person in the comments to be like, yes, put the velodrome on the mini cam, and I'll do it. Brilliant, Robert. Appreciate that. Would I ever do Celtic Park? Is that really a question? Is that really a question? No. No, I wouldn't. Because I have love and I have honor and I have all those things. No, it's not happening. Ban him. Rachel, come on. You told me that you'd take care of people in the comments. Gonna have to get at that one. Put the velodrome on. Okay. I finally got a comment. There we go. Exactly. Standards. So what kind of the interesting thing about this one that you really cannot see inside without the lights on, because, you know, the whole thing's covered and it just gets really dark. But so this is kind of an interesting thing to talk about, like the evolution of what I do and kind of how I do it. Because I had done Ibrox and started to play around with backlighting facades, that kind of helped my skill set to do this one, even though they have nothing to do with one another, don't even resemble one another. You know, from a fabrication standpoint, I'm still backlighting pieces of glass and figuring out how to make them light up and look the way you would expect them to look. So yeah, it took Ibrox to get me to the point where I could do this one as appropriately as I had wanted to. And what I found was I got this really, really, really nice white spray paint that goes on top there. It's actually a translucent white spray paint. So it's made to look flat white, but when light is exposed behind it, it allows the light through. So I got this really awesome kind of lighting effect, which I'm super duper happy with. I hope everybody can see. And then also, if you can see some of the detail in there, like I've got all the trusses inside there that actually, like you can see them, you know, through there. I was really, really happy with the way that one came out. Yeah, I think so. And that is most certainly a testament to the wonderful mania that is Rangers FC Twitter. And I mean that in absolutely the most loving, careful way possible. But you guys are crazy, and I love it. A particular size. Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting question too, man. I had originally started doing these in, let's see, 2014 or 15, and the idea was I just wanted to make myself something that I could put on my desk at work. And so the scale, that's where the scale came from. And so it's kind of my own scale at this point. Again, I started in the imperial measuring system, which is ridiculous. And I wish that this insane country never did something like that in the first place. We should all be on metric. I don't know why we're not. Why do we have to be different? It's really stupid. So yeah, I've kind of created my own scale, and the scale is 1 inch, which is, what is that? Like 3.5 or 4 centimeters. 1 inch equals 90 feet. And where that comes from is 90 feet is the distance in a baseball stadium from one base to the next base. Watched we Ibrox. So excited to see it finish. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it, Paul. I don't think the World Cup ones are for me for the time being. I'd rather look at Euros coming up next summer and maybe try to do something with that. There's other things going on with the World Cup that I'm not sure I really want to touch those, as architecturally interesting as they may be. There's some other moral things, so I think I'm probably going to stay away from that one. But yeah, Euros would be really interesting. I would love to do a Euro series, especially with the big continent-wide tournament coming up. I'd love to do like a series of them, maybe do another velodrome for that, for charity, do another Amsterdam Arena, which reminds me, that's another thing that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned here. I have done a lot of work and a lot of research over the past 6 to 12 months now. And I've found my path forward. So as maybe some of you guys know San Siro, man. Yes, San Siro is on the list. In fact, I think I'm going to start probably 3D modeling that one in the computer pretty soon here. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. But back to my story really quick, in case you guys don't know, I am finishing my master's degree in architecture in Ohio. That finishes in July. And then I have found a really wonderful treaty program in the Netherlands that I can start my own private business. And it comes with a 2-year visa and a residency permit, and you can up it to 5 years, and then there's a fast track for citizenship. So it's more or less official. In August, September time, I'm moving to Amsterdam. So I'm really, really excited. I'm really, really happy. I love that city. I love Dutch people. I love their culture. I love how happy they are. And that was kind of the impetus for why I went back to school in the first place. I didn't find myself being a particularly happy person, and now I am. So I'm going to be even happier soon. And I'm kind of blessed that this whole thing has gone the way that it's gone. So thank you guys for being a part of that, because you really are a part of that. Rachel, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm doing my thing. What can I say? That's all we can do. JP, is it just the stadiums? No. So, I do all kinds of other buildings for architecture school. Stadiums are my thing. And my mantra is kind of, any building can have a beautiful memory, right? Anywhere where you've lived, anywhere where, a movie theater could hold a beautiful memory for you if you're, a big film person. Anything in the built environment can hold those memories. But in my opinion, what makes stadiums so special, it's not just that it's the home of our club, whichever club we love, and we all feel the same about our clubs, right? Like, there's nothing that separates sports fans in that regard. It doesn't matter if you're American or South African or Japanese or British or Dutch or French, whatever. You love your club the way you love your club. And the thing that makes the stadium so special is that those memories that you make in them with your family, with your granddad, with your mom, with your brothers and sisters, with your friends, those memories always live there. And I think that that's what makes these buildings so special to us, kind of without really thinking about it in that regard. And that took like a real serious analysis for me in architecture school to really realize that. It's like you could live in a beautiful house and raise a beautiful family and have a super wonderful life. As soon as you leave that house, whether it's, you sell it and you retire or whatever the situation is, when you leave that house, those memories go with you. They don't stay there. Well, the memories that you make with your friends and your family at the stadium, whatever stadium it is, those you can always go and revisit that memory. You can always go to the building again. And I just think that that's really special. And so I'm going to stick with these because, well, first of all, I love doing it and people seem to really enjoy it. And it makes me happy to be able to make other people smile. So it's a pretty wonderful thing. And I'm, like I said, really grateful that it's all worked out like this. Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate it, man. It's going to be awesome. I have told everybody, and I will say it again, I am 150 million% coming to Glasgow, first Old Firm of the 21-22 season that is at Ibrox. I will be there. And the first round at Luden Tavern's on me. So let's get it going. Yeah, it's deep, man, but have a think about it, Jay. Seriously, it's true. You know I'm right. Have a think about that. Seriously, sleep on it. It's impactful. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Unless anybody wants to see one of the other ones real quick. I've got anybody want to see Highbury? Just hop in the comment really quick here. If you want to see Highbury, I could do that. No, Paul, I have not. However, so this is interesting. I have a pet project that I keep putting it off. It's kind of ready to go, but I haven't really started physically putting it together yet. I'm gonna do not the Maracana that you're thinking of. I'm gonna do a little model of the Maracana in Belgrade, and we're gonna do a mini pyro show. I bought tiny little bottles of red smoke and flares and little sparklers. We're gonna make the whole thing light up. It might burn down, but that's the way that it goes. Well, if nobody else has any comments, I guess that's going to be it for me for tonight. I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, a very, very Happy New Year. Thank you guys for making my year, really. I'm a little emotional about it because it's been such a bad year, for everybody, and we don't need to go into the reasons why. We all know what's happened and what hasn't happened, thank God. But without this stuff and without finding all of you guys, I don't know what I would have done. And it made my year. So I'm looking forward to what's coming next. I'm really looking forward to moving overseas. And I think the thing that makes it so easy a decision for me is that I feel like I have so many friends overseas, already. And it's through this, kind of through our interactions on Twitter and Instagram and everything. So thank you guys. I look forward to meeting all of you, and we're all going to go to games together, and we're going to talk about all these stadiums, and we're going to talk about all of our favorite moments in person, and it's going to be beautiful, and the world's going to go back to normal. So I love you all. Get at me in the comments later if you haven't seen this already. Drop me a like on the video, share the video. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. You probably do if you found us this way. We're on Instagram also now. We're kind of trying to build that platform out. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Rachel. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I don't think I did. All right, that's it, guys. I'm out of here. Love you. Happy New Year.